It's almost like we're Shoreditch best kept secret because no one knows we're here. Well, working with 90% British produce is probably one of the most challenging decisions that I've made in my career so far. Hi, so my name's Taz Sarhane. We're currently at Cycene restaurant, which is in Shoreditch, situated in Blue Mountain School. And I'm going to take you through the journey that the customer experiences in the evening. Arriving on 9 Charles Street in Shoreditch, the guests are met with a large indiscriminate door where they ring the buzzer and get welcome inside by myself. Good evening, welcome. Please come on in. The setup in Cycene and Blue Mountain School is a very unique thing. It's situated inside of a 5-floor arts multidisciplinary centre, a building which has no label on the outside. Everyone who comes here walks past and says they never realised there was a restaurant here. So this is where everything begins. First of all, the guests come through the reception and then they spend 10 to 15 minutes down here enjoying a glass of champagne, some snacks. We always have some bread, and there's always a serving of broth. So first of all, I'm gonna have this little plate of English muffins. We have the copper from an Oxford Sandhian black pig. And then this here is copper made from a nanny goat. And then this one here is rye bread made from white rye from Gilchester. And then we're just gonna build 2 little stews over here. Just in the bottom, we're gonna have a little bit of fermented apricots. Over the top is the last of the summer's corn. Just a little stew emulsified with some chicken fat and some cream. So here are some Scottish rolls, which we've just cooked over oak on our barbecue upstairs, and then some black trompettes, which are cooked in the same way. So this is some crispy fried corn, which has been puffed as well. And then just to finish off, to add some freshness, we have a little bit of perilla oil. So here at Cycene, we always start with a broth, quite reminiscent of something from my childhood. My father would always cook cow's feet when I was young. The flavour of the sauce was always the best part. So this is a reduction of cow's feet. So just over the top here, we have some bone marrow fat. And then finally, just to finish it off, a little bit of 50-year aged Pedro Jimenez vinegar. So over here is some virgin butter. So this is butter which has been made from creme fraiche rather than double cream. And then finally, some whipped chicken fat. So that's the end of the bar experience. But whenever we're done here, we'll head on up to the kitchen for our next bite. Welcome to the kitchen. Next up, we're gonna have a snack in here with the team. So the guests stand on the other side of the pass and we're gonna have a little bite of some Highland Wagyu. We split it into 2 different bites. So one is split into a crustade. So we aged the leg for 250 days, serving it raw. Some confit egg yolk, which has been enriched with the fat from the cow. And then finally on top, we add some Kaluga caviar, which comes from N25. And then the other side of it, we take the sirloin, we make a little cube of it and then smoke it in juniper and pine. And then when the guests are finished eating the crustade, we'll sear it with binchatan. Some bone marrow fat coming from the leg of the same cow. I'm just gonna give it a little brush on top just to lubricate the beef slightly. And then here we're gonna take the charcoal and just give it a nice kiss on top. Over the top, we're gonna place a little sauce made from all of the mushrooms that we collected last year, which have just been dried at the time and then rehydrated. A touch more of that lovely bone marrow fat over the top. And then finally, a little dusting of calendula flowers with some buckwheat and the tendon from the cow's leg. So that's it with a bite in the kitchen. And whenever the guests are ready, we'll head into the dining room for the next dishes. Eating a watermelon in winter just feels a little bit wrong to me. And that's why I think seasonality is so important, is because when things aren't in season, they just don't taste very good. So my philosophy at Cycene is to use British ingredients. Probably one of the most challenging decisions that I've made in my career so far. It's definitely the most limiting. In the winter, we have this dark gap where the only thing that grows around us is potatoes, squash, and leeks and carrots. In order to kind of navigate that, we have to be very creative. So for this next dish, we've just cooked this nice hand-dyed scallop from Cornwall on our barbecue over coals. And then we're gonna put it inside of this chamber, filled with hay, set it all on fire. So this is just to add that kind of barnyard scent to the scallop. And then when we cover it with the lid, we're gonna get that nice smoky flavor inside. Now we're gonna head into the dining room where we can present the scallop to the guest. So here for our next course, we have some British XO. So an XO sauce is normally made with dried shrimp, ginger, garlic, shallots, and chili, but our one's pretty much the same without the chili and a little bit of charcuterie. A5 Wagyu and some crispy potato. Over the top, we're gonna go with a little hand-dived Orkney scallop, then just a little bit of pork fat sabayon with some hay powder on the top. So here we have our scallop with A5 Wagyu and a little bit of British XO sauce with a pork fat sabayon, all smoked in hay. So here we have our beautiful pheasant shot in Norwich by my good friend Lyle at Flock and Herd. This is a beautiful bird, white meat inside, so not too gamey. First of all, we brush it with a reduction of cherry juice infused with vanilla and cola herb. And then we just finish it on the barbecue. We're gonna carve it and plate it up. Nice and crispy on the outside with that cherry glaze. Nicely rested with some crispy skin. And then here at Cycene, we always brush the meat with copious amounts of fat. So just starting off here with a little bit of Metis plum, a little bit of glaze made from the plum. Over here, a cherry which has been candied and covered in some puffed barley. A little bit of purple basil to go over the top. And finally, a little bit of the nice glazed pheasant breast. So now we have the pheasant all plated up. We're gonna take it to the dining room and finish the rest of the dish. So first of all, we're just gonna start in this glass with a little bit of vermouth. So this comes from Vault, so it's made in Saffron Walden, using ingredients which comes from the forest. We're just gonna cover the glass a little bit and then top it up with this hot consommé made from the legs of the pheasant. On the side, we have a little stew made of black barley. We also have some puffed barley on the top and the legs of the bird. And then finally, just to finish, a reduction of all of the bones with some vanilla-infused chicken fat. 90% of guests who come to Cycene have no idea that they're situated in this amazing art space until we start letting them know about it. We have an archive of clothing, a gallery, we sell furniture, we produce art, we work with ceramicists, beautiful knives made by Blenheim Forge, cutlery out of sterling silver by jewelry makers. We use quite a lot of porcelain plates from Stephanie Herring, who's based in Berlin, who we're good friends with. You can use such beautiful things and maybe have no idea how beautiful they are. So here we are with your final dessert. So over on this plate, we have some artichoke ganache, which has been sprayed with a little bit of white chocolate. In the middle, we have some crispy buckwheat with smoked caramel, and then some Blue Mountain coffee. And then finally on the side, a little bit of hay ice cream, some sherry butterscotch, and then all of the skins from the artichokes, which have been deep fried. So just to finish off your meal with some Petit Fours, we have some brown butter and spelt madeleines. We have some Cep custard tarts, some acorn bonbons, and then a little bit of clotted cream to dip the madeleines in, and finally some frozen blackberries. I think being so young and leading a restaurant like this is both very, very challenging and also very rewarding, because I'm very lucky to be in the position that I'm in at my age, only being 30. But also it means that maybe because you don't have some of the same experiences as some of the older chefs, it does lead you to second guessing yourself quite a lot, maybe making some decisions on a whim because you're not 100% sure. But that's what life's about, right? No one ever knows what they're doing until you do it. That's the beauty of running a business.